There's a real problem that woke people have when they're trying to date, and that is people pretending to be a member of the faith while actually not being, in fact. They call this woke fishing. And if only they knew how to think better, they might be able to spot these people. And if you want to learn how to think better, you can go to our website, sign up for a $5 a month, and check out the latest contemplations that Josh did with Stelios about how to think better. Because frankly, lazy thinking is one of the problems that we have these days, isn't it? Yes. Massive issue. I won't spoil any of the excellent advice in this. Let's get on to the problem of woke fishing. Now, this didn't have... I was doing some research on this for this segment because a particular article came up yesterday that I found was just amusing, so I thought we'd go through. And so I looked at it, and it's hard to find anything about woke fishing before 2020, which implies that this is where you can see the sort of the graph where people start becoming woke in sort of mid-2020s, 2010s, and then it becomes the popular paradigm, or at least ostensibly so. And now you've got to gatekeep the paradigm. They're like, oh, no, we've got to make sure that the people inside are properly woke. They're not just posers who are coming in for the clout, right? And this is absolutely what has been happening. So this is the one of the earliest articles I could find, which was Vice. Woke fishing, put simply, is when people masquerade as holding progressive political views to ensnare potential partners, literally like it's going to church and pretending to be a Christian in order to get yourself a wife, right? A woke fish may present themselves as a protest-attending, sex-positive, anti-racist, intersectional feminist who drinks ethically sourced oat milk and has a back catalogue of Audre Lorde twice. So it's literally no different saying, a Christ fisher might, attend church, pretend to be chaste. They don't drink excessively, and all these other, the Christian canards. It's exactly the same.
It's like people who it's decades old. It's like people who pretend to be left-wing to sleep with women.
Yeah, and that's exactly the problem they have.
To have the image of the rebel.
Yeah, that's exactly what they have. And now these young men who are just like, well, if I say that I support, the latest feminist vegan activism, then she'll sleep with me. And this is the problem they've run into. But the point I'm making, though, is this is obviously a set of religious catechisms that they are patrolling against. This is just honestly points of faith, right? They say, a lot of us have been woke-fished, maybe now more so than ever. Crises such as the tragic murder of George Floyd, see as a religious icon for you, and the coronavirus pandemic, which is a kind of punishment of God, in this view, have thrown societal injustices into even sharper relief over the past few months. And as a result, there's been much greater emphasis on individual agency when it comes to the urgent dismantling of oppressive systems. This is akin to the Christian view of sin, right?
Okay.
It's akin to that, as in it's always with us. It's always going to be with us. And it's a constant struggle against sin on a personal, individual level. I mean, they've actually arrived at essentially a remaking of Christianity with this. Right? But it's no surprise that singles are now consciously choosing partners who are on the same wavelength as them. Just as no surprise that others are adapting to circumvent this. So basically what they're saying is Zoomers have been completely corrupted by millennial religion. Yeah. That's what this is. So we'll go for Tom, 23, from Bristol. Has a lot to say about being woke-fished. I remember on my first date with this guy, we spoke about racism in the UK. Oh, God, can you even imagine? You're on a date with this guy and he's just like, yeah, so racism in Britain. Oh.
That's not a good topic to bring up on a first date. No. I'm sorry to say. Just
over the coming weeks, we spoke a lot about diversifying the curriculum and issues surrounding the monarchy. Oh, God.
Sorry, I want to revise my statement. I think it's an excellent thing it's an excellent topic for a first date.
Yeah, when you sit down on a first date, you're like, look, how do you feel about diversifying the curriculum? And they're like, what? And it's like, brilliant, right.
Yes, so, exactly.
What
Green light.
Yeah, what were you watching on TV yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's red flag averted. Yeah. So apparently the guy that Tom had been seeing definitely did not put his words into practice. As much as he would talk about being progressive, he would laugh at racial slurs. It sounded like he used being a social justice warrior as a personality trait, but did the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Imagine that being your entire life. Imagine that being the thing that you think about all day, every day. Zara, 23, was woke-fished too. Again, this is Zoomers getting woke-fished, right? After being in a relationship with her ex for a year, she realized that his views seemed really off in a way they hadn't been to begin with. Initially, he was very philosophical, artistic, and well-read. He was passionate about the environment and staunchly opposed to the likes of Jordan Peterson. However, he would want to debate every argument and play devil's advocate the whole time. So he's a big fan of Jordan Peterson then.
Yeah.
He didn't accept that some things are fundamental to people's identity and not up for questioning. As in, you can't question that in the beginning there was the Word, right? And the Word was God. And Jesus is the Son of God. And he died on the cross for the remittance of all mankind. So you can't question this. This is beyond questioning. It's a point of religious faith, right?
And you can't change also.
No.
It's like, okay, you're not the same person you were a year ago.
Exactly. Right.
I don't know who you have become.
Once he tried arguing with my queer best friend that straight people were as oppressed as gay people. I mean, that's quite funny, really. I found the incessant need to debate exhausting and often upsetting, and he never even acknowledged his own privilege.
Yeah.
And she ends by saying, oh, he didn't realistically have enough in common with me, as in he wasn't a member of my religion. That's what you're saying. You know, he doesn't adhere to the good book of Andrea Dworkin. So in 2021, so a year later, Cosmopolitan, like how to spot woke fishing. Well, good question. What are the red flags of woke fishing? It can be a variety of things. Someone claiming to be a feminist or anti-racist or vegan or something else that aligns. Again, I love that they know. It's literally a dogma. It's all of the same things.
Or a polygraph test.
Yeah.
Put the hand and see if the pulses are rising.
But it's all the same topics in exactly the same way with completely orthodox opinions. I mean, it literally, this, like, as if there was some progressive Council of Nicaea that determined the orthodoxy for the faith, right? But so someone who upfront espouses their feminist ideals in their dating bio or offers you a woman-oriented cookbook or book, in recommendations is definitely cringy, but they could just mean well. Instead, look for other signs they might not 100% stand by their views. Do they claim to be a feminist, then reel off non-feminist views? Do they claim to fight for racism, but actually just seem to fetishize people of color? Do they talk over you on issues that actually affect you, but not them?
So who writes this? Honestly, these people they just want to write an article.
Well, Phalian media outlets Vice and Cosmopolitan. Actually, I don't know how Cosmopolitan's doing, but I do know that Vice has definitely failed. Yeah. So not good for them. So what can you do to avoid being woke-fished? And the answer is talk. Now we've got to talk about social justice non-stop. Just to ensure that we are being... I mean, imagine if you went on a date with a woman and she's wearing a cross. But, okay, I don't mind you're a Christian. You know, and then she's like, right, so we need to talk about Jesus. It's like, okay, I believe in Jesus, you know. And so, no. All the time. We need to talk more about Jesus. And more. And you'd be like, oh, my God, I want to talk about Game of Thrones. You know? Like...
It gets people into being interrogators.
Well, that's what this sounds like.
The grand woke inquisitor.
Exactly. So. That's exactly what this sounds like. If someone seems to be faltering or lying about an issue, ask them outright what their thoughts are on it. If someone is skirting around how they voted, ask them to their face. They're unlikely to be able to lie if you just ask. Having real, meaningful, lengthy conversations, again, it sounds like being processed in a cult, doesn't it, right? With people that you meet before you meet is an easy way to determine whether their politically woke chat-up line or bio is cringy but truthful or sleight of hand designed to get you into bed. Decide where your line is, and if you feel uncomfortable, then just leave. So
this will backfire.
Well, yeah, because the constituency of woke people is about 8% of the population.
Yes.
Whereas the constituency of people who are prepared to lie about being woke just to get someone in bed is probably a lot higher.
The thing is that this is a guaranteed way for people who are, let's say, who are really good liars to end up sleeping with woke people.
Yes.
That's the effect.
Yes. Sophie adds too that not rushing into anything and trusting yourself will help. If you think someone is pretending to be someone else or something else, my advice is to slow it right down, date other people, and when you feel sure, end the relationship. Right.
First question, are you or are you someone else?
Well, what I find interesting is like just date someone else, bro. It's like, yeah, well, I mean, that is the answer, isn't it? But when is a woke fish not a woke fish? Well, when it doesn't matter to you. If someone says that they're vegan, but you find out that they occasionally eat a box of fried chicken or they're very drunk or very sad, they're not necessarily woke fishing you, they're just human. Right? So hate the sin, not the sinner. That's what we've arrived at there. They're just human. Everyone's human. Everyone sins by eating that box of fried chicken, even though they claim to be vegans. I love it. It's just a religion. It is literally a religion. right?
I think it's a good thing that it happens. I obviously I don't agree, but I think it's ultimately good because people will get so bored of it, and they will see that what we are saying. And many, let's say, people are really averse because they don't like change. They don't like to listen to bad news, and they don't like to say no. They say no. There's no problem with the woke. You're magnifying it. All this. I want them to see this on. I want them to see it on their dating life.
I want every conversation they have with every prospective romantic partner to be an interrogation into Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
So May 2023, Forbes put out this article. Again, this is apparently still a persistent and on-running problem for members of this progressive faith. Woke fishing is still an issue, and 3 dead giveaways you're dealing with a woke fisher, according to a psychologist called Mark Travers. Well, this will be interesting. Number 1, they seem to agree with you on every aspect of every issue you are passionate about. Wait a minute. The first one, she was going on about how he keeps arguing the case with me. I'm sick of him arguing. Zoe was not happy about it. Sorry, Zara was not happy about this. He keeps arguing with me. And instead, okay, so you get to the other side. No, he just agrees with everything. It's, oh my God, I can't even agree with you now. Well, now I'm a woke fisher as well, right?
You're just guilty.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's narcissism at play.
Again, point 1 of the Catholic Church, you were born sinful.
Yeah. This is a way in which they want to be narcissistic and manipulate their dates.
Quite possibly. They say, what you want to look for in a romantic partner is compatibility that is not overly dependent on agreement. Good luck. You want to look for someone whom you can have productive discussions and help you explore different, unique perspectives on the issues you care about. But there are no unique perspectives on these issues. In the same way, there's no unique perspective the Christian has on whether Jesus rose after 3 days.
Yeah.
But there's no unique perspective. All Christians agree that that's the case. All woke people agree that gay people are being oppressed by systematic structures of systemic systems. There are these points of faith on which there is no unique perspective. For instance, if you are someone who cares deeply about equal pay, jeez, it just sounds weird. Like, I can't take any of this seriously anymore, right?
Yeah.
A compatible partner would also likely believe that people need to be compensated fairly for their work, regardless of gender. Is that really a political position? I think that people should be compensated fairly for their work. It's like, I think the slave owners disagree, but I don't go on many dates with slave owners. Sorry, please.
No. It seems to me that basically they have nothing to write, and they want to basically rephrase the current problems. Problems that perennial problems. Like, how do you know the person who you are dating actually wants you or is lying to you? And they're completely rebranding it and rephrasing it in terms of catchwords that sell.
So that's what a normal person will do is have a nuanced argument with you. A woke fisher, on the other hand, is likely to simply agree with you and not offer their real experiences, thoughts, and perspectives on the issue of equal pay. Maybe they just agree with you. Maybe they're just a zealot feminist and they totally agree.
So if you say no, you're not eligible for
too argumentative.
For dating. But if you say yes, you're a woke fisher.
But also, just be happy you got the win that you wanted, right? Additionally, it's not necessarily the level of agreement between partners that determines a successful relationship, although previous pieces of advice have told us exactly that. But rather the ability to communicate and navigate disagreements in a healthy manner. Yes, and if there's one thing that woke people are absolutely famous for, it's navigating disagreements in a healthy manner.
Yeah.
You're going to be protesting your own partner by the end of this. Number 2, they seem to only have a superficial understanding of the issues they claim to care about. That really does summarize a lot of woke people, doesn't it?
They're going to ask many questions.
They will. Woke fishers may try to impress you. I love that they use woke fishers as if this is a constituency, as if there's a community of woke fishers who get around every Sunday and like, look, how can we fish the wokeists, right? Because they're so sexy, we just have to try and sleep with them. But we need a strategy, guys. There's a group strategy, right? Yeah. And so you can identify the woke fishers who have been coordinating against the woke.
They need a flag. Yeah. The flag of the woke fisher.
Yeah, they do. They do need a flag. Yeah. I will put that flag in my bio.
And they need to have a flag protocol.
Yes. No, absolutely. I want a woke fisher flag. I assume it's going to be literally like a Christian fish with the trans flag over it. But anyway, woke fishers may try to impress you with buzzwords and slogans without truly comprehending their meaning. Oh my God. So every woke person has now been rendered a Wokefisher. Like buzzwords and slogans without truly comprehending their meaning or having a surface level understanding of complex issues, such as systemic oppression or privilege. They may only engage in superficial activism, such as posting about social issues on social media or attending protests without actively participating in social justice efforts or contributing to meaningful change. So every single activist online is a Wokefisher, according to this rendering.
Question: are you blind to your group prejudice? If you say yes, you're not eligible.
But this,
If you say no, you're lying.
yeah, exactly. Heads, I win. Tails, you lose.
Invasion of the woke fishers.
Yeah,
Yes.
but look, they may engage in superficial activism, such as posting about social medias on on social issues on social media or attending protests. Well, that's literally all any of them do.
Yeah.
So, like that, the entire movement is now a bunch of woke fishers.
Takes
right?
one to know one.
Yeah, exactly. So they say genuine social awareness requires more than just a knowledge of popular terms and ideas. I love this gatekeeping as well. I'm a big fan of gatekeeping. I think everything needs to be gatekept to keep the normies out, to keep the fakers out, those people who are just doing it for clout. It requires deep understanding and commitment to racial equality and justice. If someone seems to be faking their woke persona just to get with you, it's important to be extremely cautious and take things slow. Number 3, they are obsessed with their social media presence and inconsistent with their opinions.
Every woke person.
Every
Woke person.
But also,
It's 100 out of the 90.
but also the inconsistent with their opinions. That's quite a difficult thing to maintain when your doctrine changes every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a constant roiling, like cauldron of change. Like what was woke 5 years ago is now right-wing extremism.
Yeah.
To those woke people. Like there are so many different constituencies of woke who have been salami sliced out of being properly woke. I mean, the TERFs are the best example, obviously. Insane radical feminists, right up until only a couple of years ago, when it became apparent that actually the concept of woman is abolished in woke theology. Like, unbelievable. Like, oh, you've got to be consistent with their opinions. No one on the left is consistent with their opinions.
I think
and it's not even their fault.
it has to do with the groups in identity politics being completely incompatible.
Yeah, but it's not just that. The constant sort of roiling nature of the ideological debate that's happening is constantly thinning out, like the strata of the ideology. Like I saw a couple of years ago, I saw someone post, it's transphobic to have gender confirmation surgery. But hang on, no, they're right. They're absolutely right, because if they aren't, if gender confirmation surgery is appealing to preconceived traditional notions of what it is to be a man or a woman, right?
Yeah.
You want breasts because you want to be more like a woman, but what makes you think, and we're at the point now, well, we're birthing persons now, you know, we're uterus havers now. There's nothing intrinsically woman about having a uterus or having breasts, so a woman can have a penis now, and that's just as much of a woman as anyone else. So anyone who has had trans surgery will eventually get to that point where they're like, hang on a second, I was actually participating in a reactionary fetish or ceremony in order to seem like a traditional thing, which is totally now anti-woke. So you can see the salami slicer of progress has got yet more people are now, you know, on the floor. And so, like,
Confusion is the end goal.
absolutely. Well, the
And
abolition
division.
of all category is the end goal, right? And so those people who transitioned, well, that inherently presupposes categories that are immutable or established by nature, which is very reactionary and anti-progress. So, like, I just feel bad that they're now expected to have consistent opinions. I feel kind of bad for them. You know, I mean, a normal person living a normal life has inconsistent opinions that they, you know, change over time. I used to believe that then, I don't believe that now, because they've learned and grown. But the problem that the woke have is that the ideology is changing at such a rapid pace that even if you feel that you've been consistent, you're no longer woke. And so now you're a Wokefisher.
Yeah.
And now that person has to break up with you. It's just bad luck, right? I'd feel bad for them if it wasn't so comical and stupid. But we'll leave that there because, the last bit. Being aware of the conclusion is being aware of the signs of a Wokefisher can help you avoid potential heartbreak and disappointment. How long do woke relationships really last? When all you have in common is your religion. You know, really. Remember that genuine social awareness and progressivism is about more than buzzwords or surface-level activism. By keeping these dead giveaways in mind, you can better navigate the world of social justice dating and find a partner who shares your values and commitment to social justice. God, I'm so glad I'm married.
There's nothing other of value in their lives.
No.
I mean, it's just all of it social justice. There's nothing else of that. I'm getting frustrated, but as I said before, I think that it would be a good idea if this article was a bit more influential in the woke camp, because it will make them ask more, demand more out of the people that they want to date, and finally they would be doing our job for us.
Well,
they would be convincing people that, we're insufferable. We're insufferable.
Yeah, but they're already basically undateable, right? Because there's a remarkably high number of woke people who are just deeply unattractive, and then they're like, but that's fat phobic. How dare you, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so they marginalize themselves out of the dating pool.
I hope you appreciated that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, and if you want to support our work, you can come on down to the website and sign up and watch videos like Brokenomics number 20, which looks at universal basic income, which is a bad idea in my opinion. And if you want to check out what Dan is doing on Twitter, the person who runs this series, you can check him out at kingbingo_. Thank you very much for watching.